she's like really crazy. She doesn't know me, and she doesn't know anything about me beyond whatever she makes up. But so let's just talk about my situation with this in the last whatever, like why. Okay, so let me just explain about my employment, because this person did call Social Security Disability on me and report that I have a full-time job because she cannot work, so she gets upset about that. So she decided to make up stuff about me and employment, etc. Because we have some severe disabilities mentally, and they're not being addressed. So when they get upset, they do stuff to affect my life, and it's gotten so bad.
We have a new theory now.
Quite a few years back, and first of all, I am deemed disabled. Okay, as far as.
Why can't you find something else to do in your day? Why must you be so fixated on me, you psycho?
I have long-term care. I'm permanently and totally disabled, okay, since I was very young. This person has called into question whether I'm disabled or not.
Look at these people.
So many times for years now. I've been stalked and harassed by this person saying that I'm not disabled, coming on my chats and saying they don't have any disabilities at all this crap, that I'm capable of working and all this stuff. Well, it was literally in 2000, I think it was 2016, I had gone to a particular I don't even know like how much I want to say, because I'm afraid that they're going to start making calls to these places. So but at the time
if you were afraid, you would stop talking about me. You're not afraid because you know I'm not calling anyone. I'm not calling anyone on you. I'm not doing anything to you. If you were really afraid of anything, you would leave me the fuck alone. But you're not afraid of anything because I'm not doing anything to you. You're harassing the shit out of me and won't leave me alone.
And to the time I went to a particular organization that works with disabled people to try to get them working, and I want to say like exactly where I went and stuff.
Daily
because,
harassment.
I have to be careful to some degree because of the fact that she's called all these places that I've affiliated with. So she hasn't called this place yet, but I'm afraid if I start telling you exactly where I've been or.
Nobody is asking you to tell us anything, and I don't care. If I would cause you to lose your job, why would I do that when I have offered you money to help you get a work wardrobe, and I have offered you $500 if you went to work for a job and completed a job for a year? So why would I cause you to lose a job? I want you to go to work. Then you won't have all day to sit on a camera and harass me. I want you to get a job. I want you to go to work. So no, all of this is false. I want you to go get a job so you're not sitting on the camera all day harassing me.
Things like that she's going to pick up the phone. So I have to be careful. But basically, in 2016, I went to try to get help and funding for employment. Anyways, I went, and what ended up happening was that they ushered me out of the office because they said that I wasn't employable. They said that they were not going to fund anything, and that because I had my schooling paid for at the time, and I don't want to even get into details as to what the schooling was, because I'm afraid that she will start making calls to different things and everything. But I was in school for a trade, and I really liked it. And my mom had just ended her life, and I still wanted to complete school despite that, because it was already paid for, and I also was in a wheelchair. Like, I would say 25% of the time I was in a wheelchair. But basically, despite that, despite all of it, I was like, and I was doing IVs every day, actually. But I was still wanting to go to school and finish so that I could, do this maybe part-time and work with people who had problems like me, and that I could help them. I don't want to get into details as to exactly what I was doing, because I'm afraid this person will start making calls. So what ended up happening was, they said no, they weren't going to cover anything, that they were not going to help me at all get any kind of job or anything, or work through my health or talk to any employer at all or anything, because they didn't think I was employable because I had disabilities and stuff like that. So at the door, I looked at the counselor that was literally opening the door and like forcing me out of the office because I refused to leave, because I was like, I want to work. What is going on here? It was embarrassing, frankly. I wasn't in a good place, and I probably should have just realized I was having a hard time and left. I was hospitalized, actually, not shortly thereafter that appointment, but what ended up happening and what the epilogue with that was that I finished school anyways. So I dipped into some inheritance that at the time my mom had left for me. Hey Nesta, how are you? And I finished school. And we're not gonna like get into details about how many hours I worked or what I did after the fact or why I did XYZ or why I didn't do XYZ. But at that point, at least I had some marketable skill that I could kind of put on the back burner in case I needed it down in the future. So, to go around and say that I am not, that I was deemed appropriate to work and all this crap is just such bullshit. It like is such, I was like told not to work, but I just didn't listen. And then I just was like, well, I already set this thing up for myself. I went and I did all sorts of things. At the time, I had a grant to go to school through, I don't even want to say what it was through, but basically it was like this special thing, that program that I found about, secured it, and, went to all sorts of meetings and stuff to try and get this grant at the time. And this was back in 2016. And then when the grant money ran out because of my health concerns and my health issues, like I was ending up in and out of the hospital, I was pretty sick, I was doing IVs every morning, I couldn't drive anymore. And that was one of those issues. And it wasn't because I didn't have my license, it was because I was so dizzy and I was so sick. But what I had to do is I had to pay a driver extra money to drive me to school so that I could finish my internship. So I'm so mad right now. I'm like, what the hell are you saying about me? Oh my God, that's such bullshit. So, I couldn't, the thought that I was told that I was capable of working is just, nobody freaking ever said any of that, first of all. That's why I'm on the assistance I'm on. First of all, there are programs to help people who have disabilities be able to work. So even if it's within your capability, you don't have to work full time, and I'm not quite sure if I can do it, but I'm going to give it a try. So I'm going to try to do a few days a week for a few hours a week or something like that, just so that because this is on my bucket.
I don't give a fuck what you do in your life. Just leave me alone. And don't judge me and talk about me. Do whatever you want to do, Cassandra. But you and your cronies need to stop talking about me.
It's like there was something particular that I've always wanted to do, and I have to be careful about what I say because I don't want them to start making calls because they're obsessed with everything, and they are obsessed with what I can and can't do, and what am I doing, and am I working, am I not working, who am I working for, all that weird stuff.
All you people on here saying that I keep calling the health inspector and stuff on her, I have not. And I have never encouraged anybody to call the health inspector. I am not the person behind the Instagram who has asked people to call those people. It's not me. So all of you who are doing this and saying I could be got for cyber stalking, you're all wrong. You're all feeding into her bullshit. She knows it's not me. She is doing this for harassment, and you are doing it too. You're all assholes, and you're all wrong.
They're completely obsessed with that. So I have to be careful and be careful about what I say about my work, be careful what I say about everything. But basically...
You're never careful. You just erase the evidence. You just erase everything you say. You say this shit every single day about me.
There's a bunch of people on board with me because I want to give it a go to see if I can do a few hours a week. That's all that's happening here. And there's nothing wrong with giving...
And do you think they're not going to see this that I keep posting with you saying these things? If you want them to give you a chance, do you think they're not going to see when they look up your name and your channels that they're not going to see the crap you've been doing? So you better leave me alone.
Now to try, you're allowed to work even if you have a disability. I'm not able to be gainfully employed, and as somebody who has a physical disability, you really need the insurance to help take care of you, especially because but with the right support, with all the support that I have in my home, and with all the support of the people around me mentally, and all this stuff like giving me the mental support, all my cheerleaders, I've talked to all my doctors, I've talked to my psychiatrist about it, and everybody is on board for me to just give it a try, a few hours a week. I can't do full time because I'm not capable of doing that. I'm trying to figure out how to make it work. I will be needing mobility devices while I'm at work, and I already have a lot of challenges to overcome because of my autism, and working in an office with a bunch of people is really hard for me because of the fact that, being with a whole bunch of people and reading social signals are really kind of hard sometimes, or saying the right things at the right time and not being socially awkward. So not only now do I have a physical problem to work around, I have also some other stuff that I have to work around. So this is some stuff you work on when you have just...
Well, might I suggest a job where you could do things that does not involve the public, and your office people would know exactly how you are and what your issues are so that you can work around that. They would be used to you, and there are jobs that exist like that, or things that you could put like leaflets together and other things. There are always jobs that you can go to. Like when I became physically disabled, I went to a job that was using my mind instead. There are jobs that you can adapt to for each disability. That's what I did.
Abilities and stuff. So, yeah. I mean, if you have other things where you're wheelchair bound or something like that, fully, they will... If you decide, okay, I really want to do this or something like that, they may help you find something like, a sit-down job, doing something like in an office or something. They do stuff like that. like literally they work with what your capabilities are, or what your other issues are. So like, for instance, if you don't think, here's the thing I've learned about this: if you don't think you can do it, then you might not be able to either way, but it does not hurt.
Yes, when my legs went bad and I had surgeries on my legs and then I became physically disabled, I went from a physical job that I had for years to working in an office, working with computers, which I did not have to go to schooling for. I was denied any help for that. So I did it on my own. And while I was waiting to do that, I opened my art studio back in 2006. And I worked on my art studio while I put myself through schooling. And I paid for my schooling with my art studio. So I worked at my art studio and my schooling at the same time, put myself through school. Then I went to work for Microsoft. Then I went for work through Apple. And when I was with Apple, that's when my MS got worse. And through there, I have neurological problems with my upper body now as well. I lose function of my right arm, and I have other problems such as my speech and functionality, so I cannot keep up. I lose use of my upper body sometimes as well, and so it has to wait until I have it back. I have speech aphasia, and I have seizures. And that is when they determined I could not work even a desk job, because my disabilities became to the point with my neurological disease, with MS and the lesions in my brain and my spine, that it was affecting my speech and it was affecting my everything else, as well as my swallowing. I choke a lot. I have breathing issues. I cannot even, I will be unable to eat on my own, and I will have to go on a feeding tube in the future as well. I have not made available or known all of the conditions that I have. I will not even be able to eat as everyone else does. I will be on a feeding tube. I do not have the muscles that function properly to swallow. So, yeah. I have all the supporting medical records to back everything I say up. But due to HIPAA, I really don't want to show that, but I can. I've had the swallowing tests and everything. I have progressive MS, if anybody wants to look that up. I've had it for 18 years or more. We're guesstimating how long I've had it. So yes, I have extensive neurological problems.
Hurt to give it like a shot, but sometimes you just can't even try. Like when I was on
Let's go back to where I was
from
finding her
diabetes
talking
4
about
months
me
ago,
again.
and went back to work in the nursing home she works in. First of all, even as a disabled person, even if you're like obviously disabled, like there's programs to help you if you so choose to give it. You already said you work full time, that you're somehow better than me because you.
I've never said I'm better than Cassandra in anything, on anywhere on here. I have encouraged her. I have offered her incentives out of my pocket. I feel that everyone should be as busy as they should be so that they feel better about themselves, even with disabilities. I keep as busy as I possibly can, as long as I personally can. I have never downed her in that. I have encouraged that she should be busy. Then she will not be on here causing problems, as she is.
Work full time, and now I think it's all very obvious. And I also said that she has physical problems. Probably, I'm not her physician, but when she got upset, she came on camera and she started saying that they're going to cut her legs off just because.
Yes, every one of these people have been going on and on about my leg conditions and why can't I use braces and so forth and so on. I've already explained that numerous times. Apparently, they either cannot have the function to comprehend the situation, or they lack the capacity to, or they don't have the empathy and they just feel like lying about that as well. No, braces do not fix my problems. And no, I cannot have my legs on with my knee conditions and my leg conditions. I have lacy bones. I have holes in my legs, in my bones. This is a rheumatology problem and a specialist orthopedic problem. It is a rare bone disease. Okay? I have autoimmune diseases, multiple autoimmune diseases, such as Hashimoto's thyroidosis and Sjogren's, and I have a specialized type of arthritis that eats away holes in the bones. So part of that is why my legs do not heal and they're in bad shape, and my bones are actually disintegrating in my legs. Because of my autoimmune diseases, I get infections easily and they cannot replace my knees. I am more than happy to give the name of the specialist from Germany that I saw. His name is Christian Letterman. He is based out of Kentucky, but he's from Germany, and he specializes in orthopedics for sports medicine and rare cases, and he specializes in stem cell therapy. I went to him to see if I was a candidate for stem cell therapy, and I'm not. They can't help me. They can't fix me. They can't help it in any way, shape, or form. My case is completely irreparable. All I can do is do what I'm doing and keep my legs as long as possible. I even asked about early amputation because I live in pain every single day with my legs. I am in constant pain as they disintegrate. This is a pain that I would not wish on my worst enemy. And I do not take anything for it. I am not on any pain management. And I figured if they did amputate them now, I could at least use prosthetics and still get around and still enjoy things that I enjoy. But I learned that if you amputate above the knees, the prosthetics available are very different than below the knees. So it's not much help. And they don't want to amputate unless they absolutely have to. Again, because I do not heal well and I get infections so easily. I've had MRSA several times because of my rate of infection and how easily I get ill. I have no immunity.
The bones and the knees have some issues. They don't cut your legs off unless you have like an infection.
And how do you know?
Something like that. You know, like they won't just cut your legs off for not working.
You're not a doctor, Cassandra. You don't fucking know anything. You don't know my doctors. You don't know my situation. So quit throwing out there that you know what I'm going through or what my health is or anything about me, because you don't know me. You know nothing about me. You chose me as your victim, and you've been harassing me ever since, you little bitch.